Hey everyone, in front of the camera here, I have 4 examples of the number 56 from the 2018 run by Great Eastern Cutlery. This was what I understood as a filler run between the number 78 American Jacks that were finishing up in 2017 and before they started the number 43 Oregon pattern. The number 56 frame itself, which is the Dog Leg Jack frame, was used previously, I think, in 2011, and so it's not a new frame, but it hasn't been produced in quite some time. For the number 56 pattern here for 2018, we had 3 versions of Tidute and 3 versions of Northfield Unexcelled. The 3 versions of Tidute, we had a mustard jigged bone with a bomb shield. I don't have that. We have a pheasant feather acrylic, which is the far left here, with a houndstooth shield. Natural canvas micarta with a houndstooth shield, which is in the middle. As far as Northfield Unexcelled, we had a smooth Appaloosa bone with a federal shield, which is on the far right. Mardi Gras acrylic, which I don't have, with a New Orleans shield, which I don't have, in front of the camera here, and a sandbar stag with no shield. So those were the variations of cover materials for this run. They were also done in 2 different blade configurations, either a single spear blade or a spear main and a pen secondary, similar to what they had just offered as options in the number 78 American Jack from the previous run. The main difference being that the secondary blade rides behind the main spear blade here, instead of on the 78 American Jack where the pen secondary actually runs in front. So let's go over, the only single blade one I have is actually the pheasant feather acrylic. The other 2 are 2-bladed knives. So we'll start with the pheasant feather acrylic. This one was actually the only Tidute that had a special sticker on it here. So this is called the Bird Dog, and really it's because we have the Dog Leg Jack pattern and we have pheasant feather acrylic. So they got creative with that and came out with the Bird Dog. So kind of neat, different sticker for the Tidute. Take a look here at this pheasant feather acrylic. This was the only one I had on early reserve with Mike Latham at Collector Knives. I've seen the pheasant feather acrylic on other knives by GEC, so I was excited to get one. Acrylic is hit or miss for people. I mean, some people like it, some people hate it. There doesn't seem to be much of a middle ground. This one I always found really interesting, the way it came across, so I was excited to see that they were doing a run in it. So interesting look. Looks like a pheasant bird, so interesting. The Mardi Gras acrylic, I think, was similar in pattern. It just had a bunch of colors. It was really crazy looking. But I'm glad I picked this up. Acrylic is easier to get on camera, like in a video, than it is to photograph. So hopefully this is coming through pretty well. Also, for this one we had an etching here, which is the bird dog. So you have a little hunting dog chasing a bird. And I think the Mardi Gras acrylic also had a special stamp on the blade. So if you don't like that, I mean, you can, take flits to this, take it off. I mean, it's not that difficult. If you really don't like that and you just like the acrylic pattern, you don't want the etching on the blade. So the number 56 is a kind of, not small, but smaller size frame knife. Here's it next to a number 15 boys knife. So it's very close in size to a number 15 boys knife. So it's a smaller frame, not as small as a 25 or 18, but it is a smaller frame. Next to a 74 Heartland clip, you can tell that a 74 Heartland clip is more of a medium to large size traditional. So, and next to a 77 Barlow. Just give you some size reference there. So nice little size. Houndstooth shield, pretty cool. They use this on some of the 78s and then also on a few of the 56s here. So bolsters at the pivot end and also end caps. Actually also like the 78, so these were very similar in I guess construction to the 78s, where you had bolsters on both ends and the 2 and single blade configurations. So I really like how this turned out. All these pins are nice and flush on this acrylic. I think the natural canvas micarta is the only one that's different. So you have a nail neck here. No half stops on these number 56 Dog Leg Jacks. So the pull weight, these are about a 5 or 6. Pretty light pull. You can kind of pinch this open, but it's not that easy. But regardless of the no half stop, I mean, this is still really smooth throughout. GEC does, as always, a fantastic job. When you're fully open, we're flush. Closed, we're flush. I mean, I'm not feeling any catches and corners here with the acrylic. Let me open this up real quick. Yeah, it won't catch. Doesn't seem to be catching at all. Nice little spear blade. Of course, this is my only single blade of the 56. You have Tidute cutlery, made in the USA. Might be a little easier to see it. There we go. Made in the USA. Turn it over. We got GEC CAR for carbon. You know, that's what we're gonna have for the knives now. 56, 2, 1, 18. Backswing termination looks pretty good on that one. Let's move on to another Tidute here. This is in natural canvas micarta. Again, we have the nice houndstooth shield. When GEC does this natural canvas micarta versus the linen micarta, they do a brush finish on the bolster. So as you can tell, it's not that kind of shiny satin finish. It's a, you know, a nice machine brush finish, which I think looks good with the canvas micarta. So nice looking natural canvas micarta. You do have a little bit of a catch here, but that's kind of just how it goes when you have a canvas micarta. So this is actually a 2-bladed knife. Spear main, again nail neck because we're in Tidute cutlery. And the pen secondary runs actually behind. So there you go. So you can open it up there. And for this is where you have the GEC CAR for carbon on the pen secondary here on these number 56s. And again, there's no half stop on these. So again, about a 5 or 6 pull. And of course, these are a little bit thicker because they are 2-bladed, 2 back spring knives. So real nice. Really like this because this is more of a you know, user knife because of the brush bolsters and the micarta handles. Now, of course, this was one that I didn't have an early reserve originally with collector knives, and the 2-blade versions were just like with the number 78 American Jack. The 2-blade ones were easier to come by if you didn't have a reserve. Finally, this was actually originally supposed to be Northfield jig bone, and I think it was like halfway through or right before they did the run, they actually changed it to smooth Appaloosa bone. So again, I wasn't planning to get the Northfield jig bone, but when I saw it was Appaloosa bone and I saw they're going to put this Federal shield, which looks really cool, I looked on some of the dealers and waited for it to drop. For the smooth Appaloosa bone, keep in mind the Appaloosa bone color varies from knife to knife. So if you're not, if you're just buying during a drop and there's no pictures of the individual knives, if the dealer that you're buying from doesn't offer that, you don't know exactly what it's going to look like. I got this one from the knife, no, it was not the knife connection. It was, actually it might have been the knife connection, if I remember correctly, but there were actual individual pictures of the knives, so I got to pick one with the coloration I wanted. So there you go. You know, the bolsters here are a little shinier because we're a Northfield unexcelled trim. We also have little pinches in the bolsters and the end caps here and a line in them. So nice look to that, you know, for the Northfield here. I mean, this is more of a dressy knife, of course, and that's usually how Northfields are. So you actually have a long pole because we're on Northfield, and you have a match striker. It's a match striker pattern. Let's see. Actually, my 77 barrel does not have it, but yeah. So you have a match striker long pole. Again, talking about a 5 or 6 in that pole. Not bad. I mean, and so we have mirror polished blades here with the Northfield unexcelled, and of course the Northfield etching there. Northfield unexcelled on the tank stamp there. Model number. The pen secondary does not have a long pole, just a nail neck. And just like the other two-bladed 56 that I have, that's where you have GEC and then car for carbon. So yeah, that's number 56 from beginning here of 2018. These are pretty cool. I think some of the mustard jig bone and some of the pheasant feather acrylic are still available in at least 2-blade configurations. I mean, these are still popping on the secondary market too. No SFOs for this run. This was just kind of a short run for GEC, but pretty cool. I mean, I forgot to mention too, I mean, even with these 2-bladed ones, when you have the main spear blade out here, it's really comfortable in hand. I mean, that's one of the advantages of having this dog leg pattern, is that even when you have that secondary blade, it's still very comfortable in hand. And it's also, yeah, it's pretty comfortable in a reverse grip. I don't think you'd ever really be using it that way, but because of the curvature of the handle, you can have that secondary pen blade and not really interfere with ergonomics or comfort on the knife. So the 70, or not the 78, the 56 Dog Leg Jack is just neat little pattern by GEC. Glad they did a run of these, and I'm glad I was able to pick up a few. So that's all for this one. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And as always, thanks for watching.